So I wanted to address something that I constantly hear, or at least I have been hearing since FF7 Remake was first announced in 2015, and it's whenever Square Enix fans express any criticisms towards Square's reveals or their events, there's always that one sassy tart who says, "You're only saying that because they didn't show a remake trailer. You would have said best E3 ever otherwise." Now, sure, if they showed FF7R, would I have been chuffed? Yes. Would I have been so enraptured in my hype my criticism wouldn't be as needle-sharp focused as it is? Sure. Would I be calling it the best E3 ever, just like I did in 2015? Definitely. Shit, wait, no, that contradicts. But I wanted to address those who feel the need to spout this off in every other Reddit reply available to them, that it isn't just because the remake didn't show. I mean, it was always pretty 50-50 from the start whether it was actually going to appear, what with them not wanting to overshadow Kingdom Hearts 3, but the reason Square are getting slammed internet-wide is because they put as much effort into their conference as I do waxing my balls every morning, which is to say not at all. I won't go into it again as to why bare backing 28 minutes of trailers in one unbroken, unexciting sequence is a fair idea, but this logic that fans are only salty because they didn't get a title they wanted, you know, where does that hold up with KH3 appearing? You know, that's just as anticipated and huge a title. It got the whole internet reacting like cactus souped up on adrenaline. Yet, most of those are mainly the Microsoft and the Sony trailers. They're the ones that got the largest sonic boom screams. Could it possibly have had something to do with the quality and kind of trailer that was being presented, not just the product itself? The truth is, at least in my opinion, even if they had showed FF7 Remake, people would still be criticizing the poor format of the conference. Sure, I'll acknowledge most of them, or more of us, or even me myself, we might be more distracted with the excitement of FF7, but I would argue that even if Square had showed us a glimpse of the promised land at that conference, I'd be just as critical of the format. You know, and in fact, I'd even be more annoyed at them, perhaps, for squandering a prize like the FF7 Remake in such a dull, unremarkable, and crowdless event. I would. I mean, it would not be doing it justice or getting the hype up sufficiently, not like how Sony did on their stage in 2015. And this is it. This is the magic that Square Enix have forgotten. This right here, hype, atmosphere, reactions, the thoughts and feelings of other human beings being presented and brought together in a big awesome way. This is the aspect that is often overlooked by the people who make these just because they didn't show the title you wanted comments. You know, we hear them throughout E3. You hear it for other developer conferences as well. But hype, atmosphere, reactions and the thoughts and feelings of human beings, these are what I would argue are the quintessential successes of video games in this day and age. YouTuber reactions and crowd reaction montages, they're usually the most viewed videos coming out of these events. Why is that? Why do we form groups and forums, endlessly sharing our thoughts and our opinions? Why so often do we see the fate of huge AAA titles rest on the review scores that they manage to muster? The sometimes constructive but often dribbled out opinions of others, it's because whether we realise it or not, we care about other people's reception. We get more excited if we see a lot of other people getting excited. We feel more hyped if we hear others getting hyped. I even did a video on this topic here, the science of why we debate games. Check the link in the description if you're interested, but basically explains how our brains work, react positively to essentially what is community validation. Something Square's humanless E3 conference we just witnessed was totally void of. And it's not hard to get. These are video games. Video games. Where the contingent success hinges purely on the excitement that can be generated for it, swaying gamers whose interests and attention spans are ultimately as fickle as freaking Dory from Nemo. Every little bit helps. And when you're just neglecting to capitalize on even the basic biology of what excites a Square, of what ensures a successful video game, it has real consequences, to the point you could actually be hurting your games now. Once the enthusiasm is lost, once that ventral striatum in a person's brain is no longer lighting up, and that can be because of long lead times, or because the rest of the community are so exhausted in waiting that their mood has dampened, so they're no longer providing that group validation I spoke of. You know, you're excited if others are excited, or just general disappointment for a whole host of reasons. Once that happens, it's like an infection. This slow, gradual exchange of positive hormones for negative ones. And that's going to be different in everyone. And definitely sure, when you show the trailer, it can reignite all of the positive emotions. But generally, if the mood and atmosphere of the collective consciousness around a product is starting to dampen, it dampens everyone under there. It's like a tent that encapsulates everyone, where even the most excited, enthused, and believed to be above the negativity, no, it affects everyone. It'll even serve to dampen that kind of person. So putting on these kind of shows, Square, it has real consequences, and don't just take my word for it. Square's share price dipped a pretty hefty 4-ish% in the wake of their E3 non-appearance. 4%. So any notion or idea that it's just me personally being subjectively salty because the remake did come down, no, look, there it is. Square have actually suffered a share price drop, and it's mostly because of how thin on the ground and uncertain and how poorly presented your portfolio was. Somehow, despite it not being true, you made it seem like there was nothing exciting going on in the future for this company. Well, when in my opinion, it couldn't be further from the truth. So yes, I mean, the remake not appearing certainly, could have played a part in that share price drop. And there's a bitter irony in that, considering that it was also their share prices that spiked 3% back in 2015 when they announced the FF7R at a time that they had no earthly reason announcing it other than to generate portfolio and share price traction. So it's all kind of gone full circle, really. You've shot yourself in the leg, and I know I sound harsh, or that I'm always weighing in on just Square. I mean, other devs are doing way worse. I acknowledge that. Way worse. I ain't gonna start, I'm not gonna go banging my head against EA's door. But I only do this to Square give them the weight of my criticism because they're the ones I actually care most about. I think it's a beautiful company, capable of beautiful things, and they hold many of my most beloved titles in their hands. So of course I care most, or I also get most frustrated when they needlessly, and often it is needlessly, handicap themselves, the marketing, the full potential of their games. So for those who think it is just about the product, my title didn't appear, so I'm mad. Think again, because the picture of why we share, discuss, react, anticipate, theorize, and even purchase games in the first place is much bigger than that. It's essentially mood. The mood of your fans and your fan base. And yes, oh yes, trust me, I know firsthand how fickle and sometimes irrational that can be. But rather than scream frustratedly at the world about it, at your fellow fans, who you're never going to sway the minds of, acknowledge that Square Enix are not doing themselves any favours in helping this mood I'm talking about by what I see as disregarding basics of what stimulates positive reaction and reception in the human brain. What has been time and time again tried and tested, and fine. If blindly chalking it up to FF7 Remake not being at this E3 is the reason why Square are getting weighed in on, if that makes it easier for your brain to understand, you know what, I'm fine with that. Fine, that's the reason. Because even then, on what planet or reality are we really going to start saying that it's okay for fans to be blue-balled for 3 years straight? At what point does it not become a valid complaint or reason to be in a funk about somebody showing if you have a hugely legendary, a lot of people saying most anticipated title of all time? I think that going radio silent in such a way is more than justification for people to come out and say, no, fuck you and fuck your E3. But that's just my personal opinion. What do I know? Either way, I'm going to hold out for Tokyo Game Show. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. if you want to do better at future E3s, now, other than the game thingy, is definitely to get some kind of human reaction, some sort of interaction, crowd reaction. Even if you can't afford the stage, time or presenters, even just do some pre-recorded videos. But there definitely needs to be more to tether these kind of events together to make them successful, as well as some better structuring and formatting, and also pacing of the content you show. But there we go. Hope you like this video. Until the next one.
Good.